Good day everyone. I'm Kiss Abigail Espanyol, and today we are going to talk about Thorndike's Connectionism or Associationism. And at the end of this lesson, we should be able to identify the primary laws of learning postulated by Edward Thorndike and how behaviors are learned according to Thorndike's law of learnings. The primary laws of learning postulated by Thorndike is under the umbrella of associationism or connectionism. It is mainly concerned with the connection between stimulus and response. He believed that learning occurs by trial and error or by selecting a method that could stimulate students' responses. So, stimulus is connected to our responses as stimulus or what we experience through our senses trigger what behavior we manifest. So, first to Thorndike's law of learning is the law of exercise and law of effect. He stated that practice makes connection stronger. The more often a behavior is repeated, the stronger the connection. Say, for example, we teach our students or our pupils to raise their hands when they want to answer. So, the more often we let them exercise this behavior, the more often they repeat the behavior, or much better, they make it as a habit. On the other hand, if there's a lack of practice, or conversely, lack of practice can weaken or even cause the connection to be forgotten. Say, for example, in college, I have noticed that when students want to take a break from in the middle of the class, they don't ask for permission from the teachers. They just go out of the classroom without saying a word because students in college have already lack of practice. So they already forgotten this practice from their elementary. But Thorndike believes that practice is not sufficient. So practice must be followed by some reward or satisfaction to the learner. So say for example, if the students are motivated to raise their hand by giving them reward because they behaved properly or because they followed the teacher's instruction to raise their hands when they wanted to answer, then the students will be motivated to repeat such a behavior. So that's the law of effect. If a response is followed by a satisfying state of affairs, then the connection will become stronger. If otherwise, if it is followed by an annoying state of affairs, then the connection between the stimulus and response weaken. So, the law of effect has something to do with boosting the motivation. Next to the law of exercise and effect is the law of readiness. So, if one is prepared to act, to do so is rewarding. If not, it's punishing. Therefore, before learning, one must be physically, mentally, emotionally, and physically prepared. So, say for example, you are prepared to join your math class. Thus, you know that you will excel in it. So, it is rewarding. But unexpectedly, instead of math, you attended PE class, and you'll be annoyed because you hate it. So, it is punishing. So, in law of readiness, students learn best when they are mentally, emotionally, and physically prepared. Ensuring learners are ready before introducing new concepts can make the learning process smoother and more effective. So, aside from the laws of exercise, effect, and law of readiness, there are other laws of learners that includes law of primacy. So the first thing learned has the strongest impact and is hardest to change. Initial learning sets the stage for all future learning, so it's important to teach concepts correctly the first time. Say for example, the pronunciation of honest. If for the first time we are taught how to pronounce honest as honest, so relearning the proper pronunciation of honest would be hard. So next is the law of intensity. Vivid, exciting, or dramatic learning experiences are more likely to be remembered. Engaging students with intense or impactful lessons can help reinforce learning. Say for example, in work immersion, when we apply our abstract knowledge into a concrete knowledge by immersing into a real experience, then the more likely we remember that specific lesson. Next is the law of recency. So the concepts of or skills recently learned are least forgotten. The more learners are isolated in time from learning a new concept, the more difficult it is for them to remember. So for example, in last semester, in STS last semester, our prof said that the coverage of our final exam would be from chapters 1 to 12. So we reacted. That's our response. We reacted by complaining that we can't possibly study from chapters 1 to 12. So our teacher granted us, instead of chapters 1 to 12, the coverage of our final exam was just chapters 8 to 12. So teachers should provide clear connection between the previous and the current learning experiences. So the most recent learning is the strongest and most likely to be remembered. When students review or visit material they have just learned, it helps reinforce their memory. Next is principle of associative shifting. Gradual learning occurs by associating new responses with familiar stimuli. This involves slowly shifting from known associations to new, slightly different ones, making learning easier and more natural. Say, for examples, for pupils to solve three-digit numbers, pupils must first master to solve one digit and two digit numbers. As they solve increasing numbers, pupils tend to associate the response to the previously paired stimuli and response. And lastly, law of generalization. So learners can apply what they have learned to new but similar situations. This transfer of learning occurs when similar elements are present in both the original and new learning contexts. So, in generalization, not only skills should be taught in one isolated topic but also other related topics. Say for example, in math, you should not only teach numbers, you should also associate the lesson with a little in English, grammar, as in math, we also need to solve word problems. So, in summary, law of exercise emphasizes the importance of practice and regular reinforcement to strengthen the learned material. The law of effect leverages positive reinforcement to encourage correct responses and learning behavior. Law of readiness ensures students are prepared and motivated to learn the new concept. The law of primacy ensures the foundational understanding is correct, setting the stage for all future learning. Law of intensity makes the learning experience vivid and engaging, enhancing retention. Law of recency involves reviewing material to reinforce recent learning and improve memory. The principle of associative shifting helps in gradually introducing new but related concepts, making learning easier. And lastly, generalization ensures that students can apply what they've learned to new and different situations, demonstrating the transfer of learning.
In summary, these laws and principles are interconnected and collectively contribute to a holistic learning experience. Each law supports different aspects of the learning process, from initial understanding and practice to reinforcement.
And application, ensuring a comprehensive and effective approach to education.